Still an almighty fuss over the government's rural school bus program, sufficient for the Minister of Transport, Daryl Vaz, to issue a statement on Sunday afternoon clarifying and rebutting points made in a Gleaner article published earlier on Sunday. The minister stops by this evening to again seek to shed light on the bus procurement and, of course, the procedure by which a company, El Hydro, played a key role in bringing those buses into the country. This is Lead Story, the Monday edition. Let's start the week strong. Bus, and more bus. The word bus has been spoken more times in the past 2 weeks than perhaps the previous 15 years cumulatively in Jamaica. And here we are talking about bus again because there are still people with questions that they want answered, and there are still people formulating new questions, even as the questions they want answered, the answers are provided to them. And so we feel it necessary to again revisit this issue. And to say again revisit to be correct, because we revisited, and now we are again revisiting. So it is entirely correct to say again revisiting this issue of the government's rural school bus program and the procurement process, the companies involved, the steps taken by the Minister of Transport, the role played by the Trade Board, whether or not waivers were given, whether or not irrelevant inspections were done, and whether or not, as social media is saying, the entire spend of 1.4 billion could have been used to buy brand new coaster buses to furnish the fleet of vehicles that the government is using to assist rural area students get to school safely and on time. Before we dive into it, though, here's this little nugget from Nika Lewis.
Transport Minister Daryl Vaz is rejecting what he calls a false, disingenuous and reckless suggestion in the media that El Hydro Limited was allowed to breach import policy during the rollout of the rural school bus system. In a statement Sunday, Minister Vaz reaffirmed that the Transport Ministry is the licensed importer of all 110 buses under the program. He clarified that El Hydro served as the supplier, acting as the sole approved agent in Jamaica and the Caribbean for the manufacturer. The Trade Board, he says, permitted El Hydro to facilitate importation on behalf of the ministry, but emphasized that school buses are specialized units, not intended for resale. Therefore, he notes El Hydro is not required to be registered as a used motor vehicle dealer. Vaz also addressed claims that the buses were uncertified. He asserts that all 110 units were certified in 2025 by U.S. Department of Transportation approved inspectors. Additionally, that JUTC engineers traveled to the U.S. for inspections, and that the Island Traffic Authority completed rigorous checks and issued certificates of fitness upon their arrival in Jamaica. The minister further criticized the headline, "Not Certified," as misleading while demanding responsible journalism. The minister has been facing harsh criticism by some opponents who felt they were not only unsafe, but that they will not meet the needs of the bulk of the students in rural spaces. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
Thank you, Nika. Break time, back with more after these. This is Lead Story, Monday edition.
Millions of people are attacked by harmful mouth bacteria. The root cause of bad breath, gum problems, cavities, plaque, and tartar. That's why Colgate combined the best science and technology in Colgate Total. Unlike others, its superior formula fights bacteria and creates a powerful protective barrier for up to 24 hours to prevent them from coming back. Take control of your oral health with Colgate Total.
My name is Dahoni Adlam. I am 35 years of age.
I'm Ruby Smith. I'm 83 years of age. The house, what I already been into, it wasn't wholesome.
My house got burned down. It was terrible. I lost everything in the fire.
Ready?
I sleep so happy.
I'm happy that I have somewhere again. The new social housing program, I am happy because it gives me a second chance and others as well.
The government, through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, is building hope, one home at a time.
Downsound Entertainment presents Reggae Sunfest Night 1, Friday, July 18. It's Dancehall Mayhem. The World Boss Vibes Cartel leads the charge alongside Massacre, Tommy Lee Sparta, Skang, Governor, Jamal, Diani, Shanil Muir, Laden, Harry Toddler, Young Wild Apache, and more. Don't miss Night 1 of Reggae Sunfest 2025. Sponsors: Jamaica Tour Sport, MasterCard, Secrets Hardware and Lumber, Urban Development Corporation, Red Stripe, Downsound Records.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
Welcome back. So the government's rural school bus program remains under the microscope given the incessant questioning from the parliamentary opposition and even from sections of the media wanting more clarity on the process used to bring the vehicles here. Of course, key to note that the 110 buses are all not here yet. 26 have touched down in Jamaica. The rest are to come. The transport minister says all should be here before September so that come the first morning of the new school year in September, all buses would have been deployed across the island. 100 pressed into service immediately, as he has said before. 10 kept in reserve just in case something happens to one of those, which will start the ball rolling. So here's what we're going to do. We've been trying to reach the transport minister. He did tell us that he was going to be in his constituency on this Monday. Although we don't yet have a nomination date nor an election date, the two parties are in full campaign mode, especially with Parliament no longer in session. It has broken for the summer recess. And just like that, I was going to refer to his statement from Sunday, but I'm being told that the Transport Minister is joining us for a quick chat as he carries on his very important constituency work. Minister Vaz, not our intention to detain you for too long, but just we believe that for the benefit of the TV audience, for another time.
Not hearing you too well.
You're not here. Are you hearing me any better now?
Hearing you better now. Yes, hearing you better.
Good. So I'm saying, I know you've covered this ground several times, but I know that you're not tired of addressing these matters, especially.
Except I have one constraint.
Yes.
I'm in the middle of a workers' meeting in Hope Bay.
Yes.
So I've stepped outside.
Yes.
So I'll give you 10 minutes and then I have to return to finish my.
Doesn't matter. I appreciate your time. All right.
Yeah.
Let's deal with the issue of the trade board and that statement from that story from the Gleaner, which said the trade board waived the inspection of the vehicles which came into the island, causing some people to think that we have uncertified, unfit buses that are coming to be part of this rural school bus program. Address that for me.
All right. So let's start with the opposition's disingenuous, dishonest claim that the buses were decommissioned buses. The Department of Transport, United States Department of Transport, sets criteria for the inspection of all buses in the U.S. school bus system. That has to be done on an annual basis by each state that operates them, or in some cases biannual, which means twice per year, but minimum of one. This is done by inspectors that are certified to do the inspections by the Department of Transport. All of these buses were inspected and have inspection certificate decals for 2025, all 110. Secondly, we sent a team up there from the JUTC and the Ministry of Engineers to inspect the buses that had been chosen. And thirdly, as we speak, the Island Traffic Authority is doing their inspections in order to issue certificate of fitnesses for the buses. That's 3 inspections. The inspection that the Trade Board does is done by an appointed agent by the Trade Board that is for used motor vehicles. So, in other words, the vehicles that come from Japan every month would fall under that. That's a private inspection firm. That firm is not sanctioned by the Department of Transport to do the specialized inspections for school buses, which is a specialized bus. So that inspection would not meet the criteria. Hence, the other 3 would be sufficient, and therefore it would be an additional cost that would not have any value to the process. So that answers that. The second aspect of the Gleaner article is the fact that the supplier is not a certified used car dealer.
Yes.
I was the president of the Jamaica Used Car Dealers Association, the founding president in 1993. It was me who negotiated to get a used car policy, so I know it inside out. And the fact is that though that inspection, that certificate is for motor vehicle dealers that are trading, meaning they are importing, they are putting on their lots, and they are selling into the market. Yes? In this case, this is an order for government. The bus is to be used for the government in the rural school bus system, and therefore there will be no requirement for them to have a certification because of the fact that they are not selling these buses into the market. If they were selling them into the market, they would have to have a certification from the Trade Board,
yes,
which is called a motor vehicle, and that's annually.
Yes.
A motor vehicle used car dealership certificate. So again, you know what bothers me more than anything else? All of these things, if just follow the right protocol, both in terms of the opposition and the media house, the opposition spokespersons communicate with me on a regular basis about everything to do with my portfolio responsibilities, and I'm always open to give them information. From the Prime Minister announced this in March in his budget presentation that it will be used school buses, refurbished school buses. I have never received a formal or informal query, question, clarification from the opposition.
Even informally via WhatsApp, even a text message?
Nothing, zero. They are so afraid of it. It's almost like they saw it being a political piece of dynamite, and it's like they just, nothing, zero.
Yeah.
Nothing, zero. You remember how Paul was in my neck back like a pitchery over the JPS license? Issuing statements and coming on in Parliament and all of that about remember that the time soon come, etc., etc. Nothing. But to go further, the reporter from the Gleaner, I have WhatsApps of her sending me questions in and out of working hours on all other matters, up to recently. And not even a call, or a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
We received an email on Thursday night that was sent to my PR department at the ministry with the 13 questions requesting us to respond by 4 o'clock on Friday.
Yes.
We responded and said, we don't know, we have to go through, but we'll respond in the shortest possible time.
Yes.
To me, that was all a setup to follow the protocols, to ask for information.
Yeah.
And when you don't get information, for you to be able to go to the Sunday sensational headline to be able to play into the narrative. Not realizing that all the people of Jamaica want is the buses to roll out September morning.
Here's this question then. Another narrative that has another part of the narrative that has taken hold, certainly among people who debate on social media these things daily, Minister. Various calculations. 1.4 billion could have bought X number of coastal buses. We did not need these old buses that Vaz and the JLP are bringing into the country. Address that for me.
Okay, so first of all, let me make it plain and straight that the policy of the government is to bring in fit-for-purpose school buses. That means buses that are manufactured to specifications for the children's ultimate safety. So anybody who thinks that I'm going to bring in the regular buses that are not going to have the safety features for these children, especially after 700 and odd have been injured over the last few years in rural Jamaica and 60 odd perish. That ain't going to happen. Secondly, the bottom line is that these buses and the $1.4 billion is for the purchase of the bus, is for the inland freight, which is expensive to get it to Miami or to New York, especially they're coming from all over the United States of America. Sea freight, which is another expense because of the size and the dimensions. Duty when they land here. Parts for 1 year. A maintenance contract for 3 years, which meets the Department of Transport specifications, because we want to follow that. The technology of all of the cameras, etc., that are going to be installed, the cashless system, and the refurbishing and retrofitting of the doors. So it is not comparing apples with apples. The $1.4 billion for the coastal buses is just for the coastal buses. But let's take it one step further. The opposition is going to say they are going to do 20,000 families at $2,000 per week, which is $50 million, times 4, that's $200 million, times 8 months of school, that's $1.6 billion. And that $1.6 billion does not treat the safety, security. It puts the children back into the same situation that they are in now. There's no accountability for it. There's no transparency in relation to who will get that $2,500. How will it go? And this is something here now where you are getting assets, you are getting buses that will last you 10 to 15 years based on the mileage that currently are in the buses and the mileage that is stated by the manufacturers of 500,000 miles on the engine and on the transmission. So you are getting value for money.
Let me, Minister, I want to ask, one of my colleagues saw 3 of the buses on the eastern side of the island today running smooth. I want to ask you about the rollout of the buses and how the retrofitting has been going on, but I need you to stay on the line for 60 more seconds. I'll come to you very soon after this. Stay where you are.
You're mashing up my political business.
No, man, I'm not mashing it up, man. Stay where you are. Coming back soon.
This July, the world turns to Jamaica
for the Caribbean Investment Forum, the region's premier investment event.
From July 29 to 31, the Montego Bay Convention Center comes alive
with global thought leaders, exclusive investment opportunities, high-impact deal-making sessions.
Are you ready to invest in the Caribbean's future? Book now at CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com.
Let's shape a smart, green, connected Caribbean. July 29 to 31, Montego Bay. Powered by Caribbean Export, Government of Jamaica, Jampro, EU, CARICOM, Republic Bank, and IDB.
It was rough. Every time the rain fall, the whole place wet up. I have to put the kids' them book in a bag until the place dry out. Ah boy, I couldn't afford a new roof. Then one day, Ross tell me about a grant I can get through the government. So I sent a letter to the ministry telling them Wagwan. The officers came, them do them inspection where I was able to go to the hardware store, get the supply so my roof could have been fixed. I don't think I ever see my kids them smile so much yet. That means everything to me. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation make my life better.
Transport Minister is at a very important workers' meeting in Hope Bay in Portland as he organizes for the next general election. He has consented to step out to speak with us for a few minutes. We're wrapping up with him now. Minister, as I said to you, 3 buses spotted on the eastern end of the island today, causing me to ask the question about the process of retrofitting the buses that you have already and the plan for the testing of the rest to come before September so that everything is in place for September school morning.
The plan for the testing is tentatively from 26th to the 31st of July. We should have about 60 or 70 buses that would be ready for testing. We expect to have the whole 110 buses here by the end of July. So the testing will go from July into August because obviously the second batch that arrives later on would have to be tested as well. But I want to explain to you, George, and your viewers and listeners, the average age of the public transportation taxis in the system by Transport Authority figures is 14 years. Before I brought the 270 new buses, 93 of them which are rolling out on Wednesday, the average age of the JUTC was 14 years, the bus. The public transportation buses, the coaster buses and such, the average age of those are between 16 and 18 years. The average age of these buses are 10 years old. So we have the newest old buses, as the PNP call them. But these are serviced to a specific standard in the United States. And these buses are only driving in the morning and the evening because they are dedicated to school children.
Yes.
So you're talking about 12 to 15,000 miles per year.
Yes.
Is what we are estimating them to do in Jamaica. Yes? So the argument about whether or not it's value for money, whether or not it's flawed because it's left-hand drive or whatever. These are fit-for-purpose buses. The only ones that I could get in the time that was given, which is to roll out a school bus in September 25, based on the urgency of what was taking place.
I heard you say before that these buses, the engine has a top-out capacity of about 500,000 kilometers. And you say the batch that you're bringing in the first instance, they have about 150,000.
They range from 60,000 to 170,000 miles.
With a capacity of 500, so there's a lot of capacity left.
So all I would say to you, don't take my word. I said to your viewers and your listeners, Google Cummins diesel engines and Allison transmissions, 2 of the best well-known in the world. And I say to you that my research has showed me that the United States school transport system is the gold star of transportation systems in the globe.
Yes.
Being used from 1937 and are manufactured specifically taking into consideration the safety and security of the school children.
Last one, Minister. This 1.4 billion plan in the initial stages for these 110 buses and the other things that go into the whole package to make it 1.4. Is this the first bus plan you took to cabinet? And if not, what happened to the previous plans that you shared with your colleagues there?
I took two other plans. The first one was to use members of the public transportation operators and make them give dedicated service and pay them the full price of the adult fare. And that came up to over $8 billion a year in subsidy. And secondly, we looked at buying smaller buses and operating them with the same subsidy, and that came up to $20 billion a year. Both of them were non-starters. The only one that is affordable and sustainable now is the one that we have implemented. But I will close by saying that based on the timeline that I had, which was but a few months to get this done for September 25, which was a mandate based on the ravaging of the school children on the road in terms of injuries and death, and of course abuse and other things that they go through. The government of Jamaica took a decision to make this an emergency, and now that we have done this, we still have more buses to buy, and we will look closely at what is being offered across the globe, see how it fits in with us, see the cost benefits, etc., and tweak if we need to tweak, and go out to international tender.